All right, next bill we have is House File 3410, Representative Freiberg. And welcome to the committee, Representative Freiberg. I will move that House File 3410 be re-referred to the Judiciary Committee. And with that, please, to the bill, Representative Freiberg. Oh, I believe we also have the A1 amendment too as well. Is that the amendment that you like to put in the shape that you like it in, Representative Freiberg?
Yes, please.
All right. So with the A1 amendment to be adopted, all those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The ayes have it, and the A1 is adopted. So to the bill as amended, Representative Freiberg.
Thank you, Chair Vang and members of the committee. This is a bipartisan bill that was brought to me by the Animal Humane Society, which is Minnesota's largest nonprofit companion and animal welfare organization. AHS operates 3 shelters in the Twin Cities area, including one in the district I represent. And I know that many people in this room, including me, have likely adopted pets from one of these shelters. We've shared the language of this bill with numerous stakeholders, including the Minnesota Veterinary Medical Association, which is neutral on the bill. This bill is simply about transparency. In Minnesota, kennels, shelters like the Animal Humane Society, and state-licensed commercial breeders are required to be licensed and inspected. Under current law, the inspection reports and other data for commercial breeders are classified as private under the Data Practices Act, so consumers cannot see the inspection reports even if they plan to purchase pets from a breeder. The same reports for kennels and shelters are already public data. People want access to information they can trust, whether they are choosing a restaurant, a hairstylist, or a dog and cat breeder. There's a chart in your package showing that inspection data for most state licensing boards in Minnesota is already public, and most boards post the information online. My bill treats dog and cat breeders like other regulated businesses. With that, I can turn it over to my testifiers. I believe Kim LeBeau from the Animal Humane Society is here to speak on it as well.
Okay. Kim, if you can identify yourself before the record and proceed.
Chair Vang and committee members, thank you for hearing this bill today. I am Kim LeBeau with Animal Humane Society. And each year, Animal Humane Society adopts more than 12,000 pets at our 3 metro area shelters. And as an animal shelter, we are licensed and inspected by the Minnesota Board of Animal Health. And by law, licensing and inspection data for Animal Humane Society in all of Minnesota's nonprofit animal shelters and other regulated businesses is public data. In contrast, this same information on state licensed dog and cat breeders has been classified as private data. So as a result, I can find out more about my state licensed hair salon than I can about the breeder who raised my puppy. This bill makes breeder data public and holds commercial breeders to the same transparency standards as nonprofit shelters, dog and cat dealers, and other regulated businesses. This applies to about 107 state-licensed commercial dog and cat breeders defined by law as breeders with 10 or more adults that produce over 5 litters a year. This doesn't apply to small breeders who are not required to be state-licensed. And while Animal Humane Society encourages people to adopt, we also support responsible breeders. And this position has been stated on our website for the past 13 years. As part of our position statement, we encourage people to do their research before they spend thousands of dollars on a new pet. This bill will allow people to do their homework so they know if a puppy was raised with 5 or 500 dogs, if they're a repeat violator, or if their license was revoked. So we encourage you to pass this bill because it ensures consumers have access to critical information before they make a significant financial and emotional investment in a new pet. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Our next testifier is Andrew Willman from Rough Start Rescue. Is he here today?
Yes. Can you hear me? Sorry.
All right. Yes, we can hear you. If you can identify yourself for the record and proceed.
Absolutely. Chair Vang and committee members, thank you for providing the opportunity to provide testimony remotely. I'm Andrew Willman, Board Secretary of Rough Start Rescue, and our organization strongly supports this bill. A little bit of background about Rough Start Rescue. We are a foster-based companion animal rescue located in Princeton, Minnesota. Our facility in Princeton provides space for veterinary care and temporary emergency housing for animals in our care. We also have a statewide network of people who foster primarily dogs and cats, along with the occasional critter, in their homes. Like commercial dog and cat breeders, Rough Start Rescue is licensed and inspected by the Minnesota Board of Animal Health. We do not think it is right that nonprofits are held to higher transparency standards than for-profit breeders. A little bit of supplementary notes here, bullets, as to why this bill is needed. Our organization tells people who want to purchase a purebred dog from a breeder to do their homework. Simple as that. Dogs from commercial breeders sometimes end up in our care. Many times, or sometimes, the dogs are well cared for, some are not, and suffer both physical and emotional effects from neglect. And we're looking to provide transparency into this abuse. It's difficult for people to know which breeder to choose from because there isn't a reliable source of information. There are over 100 state licensed commercial dog and cat breeders in Minnesota, and yet consumers are denied access to valuable information collected by the state, such as the names of the breeders with revoked licenses. Therefore, we strongly support more transparency of the commercial breeding industry in Minnesota and think that this bill is a good start.
Thank you, Andrew. Our final testifier is Darren Macbeth from Minnesota Pet Breeders Association. If you can identify yourself for the record and proceed.
Good afternoon, Darren Macbeth, representing the Minnesota Pet Breeders Association. Yes, an association exists representing those who breed pets. We have among the Minnesota Pet Breeders Association businesses. They are businesses. They do it for profit to breed purebred and special traits and attributes in dogs mostly that people desire for showing purposes, for hunting purposes, for a companion animal in their home, that they want to pick out the type of dog and in the pedigree that suits them. And what needs to be brought to your attention and on the record here is the apples and oranges metaphor, the apples and oranges difference between animal rescues and shelters known as kennels in the law, and breeders, or commercial breeders, which I'll talk about in a second. And the apples and oranges difference is where the dogs and pets or cats come from to shelters and rescues. Sometimes it's not known. Sometimes the animals, yes, they're neglected or unwanted. They're stray. Many shelters acquire by the hundreds animals from other states that have been different for different reasons and different impacts to those animals, versus purpose-bred and raised pets from a breeder. In 2014, the law that we have now, the commercial breeder law, was negotiated. And yes, the data privacy or the business operating data of breeders, if they met the definition of a commercial breeder, was protected and declared private, non-public. And as you heard, the definition of a commercial breeder, who are required to have a license, meet standards of care, undergo inspections, all governed by the Board of Animal Health, and the data they get from those things are of 10 intact animals and at least 5 litters per year. And so the last thing I want to say in summary is you've heard of the request for transparency and more information and be a level playing field. But A, when there's apples and oranges, different kinds of businesses. And B, it's not really the customer who is wanting this information, as you've heard today, because customers can ask the breeder. And if they hear an answer they don't like or they disagree with of that breeder's situation, they don't have to buy the animal and they can go somewhere else. It's really activist organizations and people who don't like the concept of breeders versus rescues who want this information to
Thank you, Darren
not sure
Macbeth.
what they want to do with it. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't see any further testifiers, so we'll move to discussion of the bill. Questions from members? Representative Anderson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, I love dogs. I love yellow labs and the greatest animals there are. But, you know, I've been around back in 2014 too, where we worked this compromise out where the breeders were licensed and regulated. And the Board of Animal Health contains a list of those in good standing. And the Board of Animal Health must share that information. And so I guess I just kind of go back to that 2014 compromise where this information of breeders was to negotiate it to be kept private. And I would stand by that compromise, Madam Chair.
Representative Jacob.
Well, thank you, Chair Vang. So in Winona County, we've got more dog kennels than any other county in the state of Minnesota. With that, the majority of those dog kennels are operated by the Amish community. And out of respect for their religious beliefs, they try to be as private as they possibly can. So do you have any concerns about, first of all, privacy, and then I'll have a follow-up question about biosecurity?
Representative Freiberg.
Thank you. I think some of the, there was a letter I noticed in your packets from the American Kennel Club, and it talked about the potential to visit private homes and making people's private homes, information about people's private homes public. The amendment that we adopted at the beginning actually gets rid of that requirement and I think addresses some of those concerns about privacy. It says only that the city or township where the breeder is located has to be made public. So I think, especially with the adoption of the amendment, I believe the privacy concerns are addressed.
Representative Jacob.
Well, once you have the person's name and their county, it's as simple as going on Beacon to find where their address is. So it's the same difference as giving out their private information. And with that, these facilities are just top-notch facilities. The kennels are nicer than many of the homes that I've been in, and they are just so concerned about anything being brought into those facilities. So if someone comes to the premises, they're going to have to put on essentially not a hazmat suit, but a white suit and footwear and headgear. This all makes those places more accessible. And do you have any concerns about people potentially coming to these facilities and bringing diseases to these dogs that weren't there previously?
Representative Freiberg.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Representative Jacob. I guess not really. The bill doesn't change anything related to access to these provisions. It only says that data that's not identified by address has to be made public. And so that's like the number of animals that they're keeping, any record of violations. It sounds like you're describing a really strong organization there. So I imagine they would have nothing to be concerned about.
Representative Jacob.
That's fine. Thank you.
Further discussion? Seeing none, closing remarks. Representative Freiberg.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Appreciate you hearing this bill. Like I said, it's an important data transparency bill. I think it will give potential customers and people who want to adopt animals access to information that's not previously available. So thank you again.
Right. I renew my motion for House File 4659 as amended be referred to the Climate and Energy Committee. All those in the favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no.
No.
The ayes have it, and the motion prevails. House File 4659.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair. I believe the motion was to send it to Judiciary, and you had
Oh,
said
sorry.
climate.
My apologies. I will redo the motion. Renewing my motion I'm reading the wrong motion. Renew my motion for the House File 3410 as amended be referred to the Judiciary Committee. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Opposed say no.
No.
The ayes have it, and the motion prevails. House File 3410 as amended is referred to the Judiciary Committee.